All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. My name is John, and today we're going to be talking about a special video, an intro to Dark Knight. So over the 7 years I've been playing this game, I've actually played all 26 classes that are available, but Dark Knight would be considered my main class that I've just been playing, I guess, since it came out, or a little bit past that. And you guys can watch all the videos that I've done. Most of it's on Dark Knight. And I wanted to give you an introduction to the strengths and weaknesses that I think are of the class, and dispel any rumors and myths that people have said over the years, and tell you what it's like if you were to start Dark Knight today. So, I guess, where do I start? How do I build this class, and what do I think of it? So, Dark Knight, in my opinion, is of the top tier to bottom tier. I guess if someone were to make a tier list, Dark Knight would be either down to middle or slightly above the middle. Not good at anything, or it doesn't excel at anything, but it's not the worst at anything. That's just where I am, because there are definitely classes that excel in both PvP and PvE, and there are also classes that are, they really need more buffs than Dark Knight does. So I guess, in my opinion, Dark Knight would be the definition of a balanced class, and you may not see that because Zerkers exist and they just have a full kit of everything, whereas Dark Knights, in my opinion, are more glass cannon assassin type classes. If you were to come from another MMO, that would be the term for it, more or less. And so yeah, let's talk about Succession and Awakening. So Dark Knight is actually, in my opinion, one of the lucky classes that both Succession and Awakening are very viable, whereas some other classes, it's you see them, but everyone who plays that class is on a specific one or build. So luckily, Dark Knights are both well done in Succession and Awakening. So the way you would play this class is more of an assassin. So if you are a PvPer, you could either be in the main ball of I guess if you're a Zerg and you just go with them. But mostly the way you would play it is you were kind of in the back lines, picking off the stragglers in PvP, and you could play it that way as well. I think that's the better way to do it, but you aren't going to be top of the line, most kills or anything. You're just more of a support in a way. I don't know. I don't think support is the right word, but you're just kind of an assassin. You're just picking off the other people. That's just how the playstyle is, in my opinion. So I think there are a lot of good tools for all of that. And a lot of the skills, I guess the most important ones you should know are the ones that you would be using in both PvP and PvE. There's a lot of big AoEs and flashy abilities that Dark Knight has, which, if you like flashy classes, Dark Knight is definitely one of them. So a lot of this is mobility, and if you were to look on the character creation screen, you know how it gives you that little chart thingy that's speed, damage, mobility, or I guess that's the same thing, but damage done, damage taken, or something. DK is a mobile class. High damage, low survivability, in my opinion. But definitely, in terms of the flashy movement side, that is how you're going to be playing it, and that's what you should expect from it. So what makes this class a little bit different from others in terms of unique skills, besides, okay, every class has some big AoEs. What makes this one different? So we have this skill called Nocturne. Where is it? Nocturne. This is probably one of the most unique skills Dark Knights have in both Awakening and Succession. And basically, this allows you to go invisible for a split second, and then you hit an arrow or directional key. And what that does is it either allows you to go behind the enemy, on the side, or you go it has a lot of different things. If you read the tooltip, it's basically very situational. So it allows for you to outplay people in different ways that is unpredictable. So learning Nocturne is probably one of the most unique things I would say Dark Knight has for it. And so it's one of those things you just kind of have to play and learn. But yeah, overall, the hardest things for Dark Knight is probably one, the survivability, and two, just like doing enough damage against the tankier classes. And while I would say that Dark Knight is supposed to be a glass cannon, sometimes when I PvP, even at endgame, like high DPS, AP, and or accuracy builds, sometimes it just doesn't feel like it against other classes. But once again, as I talked about, Succession is more of a melee class where you're up in the enemy's face, whereas Awakening is more range where you just toss abilities, and it's just like, I would say Awakening is safer, but Succession does a little bit more damage, so that's the best way to put it. And what else would I say? So for Dark Knights, how do you build this class? If you were to look in the stats at the very bottom, every class has a unique passive, and for Dark Knights, we get crit damage and accuracy. Accuracy is very important for PvP, but a little bit less relevant on the PvE side. And overall, it's like a magic type class. So first of all, this is, I guess, just a beginner tip. If you don't know what kind of like spec your class is or the combat type, you just go to your character sheet, and then down here it'll tell you whether you're like melee, magic, ranged. So like if, for example, if you're a wizard, you're magic, and if that didn't click at the start, I don't know what to tell you, but either way, just go to your sheet and then you could look at it from there. So how do you build Dark Knight? So as you guys know, in multiple videos I've made, you can go the accuracy and DR route, or you can go the evasion route. And evasion is, I guess, technically better in overall for other classes, but for Dark Knights, what you're going to want to do is mostly build the DR route, because our class does not have the extra evasion passives that like ninjas and kunos have, whereas we have accuracy, which is nice. So when you're building, I do believe it is important to get accuracy accessories, which I am in the process of it transitioning into in the future. But the way this works is like when you get your gear, for your shoes and your gloves, at least right now, you have two options, like Muskin and Urgons versus, or, well, those two. And then the glove side is Begs and Liebers. So what you're going to want to do is go the damage reduction route, which would be Urgons and Begs, just because it gives you more accuracy along with damage reduction instead of evasion. I have actually tested both of them, and overall, DR will be overall safer and you'll feel better with it. So when it comes to accuracy and PvP stuff, what is more important? I think there isn't really a right or wrong answer. It also depends on what you do. So if you are exclusively a PvEer, you just want to build more damage because that'll allow you to clear faster when you're grinding, therefore more silver an hour. But if you are a PvPer, even though we do get some accuracy bonuses on the side, I do believe it is important for accuracy. So which ones are the best ones? I have a video on that one, but I think just like, you don't need all accuracy accessories, but if you want to get some, I would say the Turo belt is a good one, and that super high-end lunar necklace is also a good one, and maybe Dawn's. But once again, it depends on where you're at in the game, and if you need help, feel free to ask. I'm happy to more or less point you into the right direction. Or there's a Dark Knight Discord that you can join. This is a class Discord for everything, actually, so just join the one you are. But some classes you might see using like accuracy or evasion offhands, which is like the slot over here. And for PvP, we use Maneuver. It's just how it is. And if you're grinding, well, just all classes, you use either Black Star or Kudum. Pretty standard. So yeah, overall, I just want to run down some of the important artifacts and lightstones that I use that I think are important. So, and I do have a video on my crystals exclusively. So if you want to watch what everything is, it's like a longer video that goes into more detail. But artifacts that you would use, in my opinion, are, if you are a beginner or entry-level Dark Knight, Magic AP artifacts are the way to go, just really nice to have. And then for PvP, I would recommend the accuracy artifacts. And if you are PvEing, this is on the expensive side in my opinion, but the Death Blow set, which is AP against monsters and crit rate. By adding the Death Blow set, allows your class or your skills to do 100% crit rate, because if you look at some of the skills over here, some of them have 100, some of them don't, and then with everything up, and you should be very close to 100 if possible, if not 100 already for a lot of your skills, which is probably the best in slot for PvE grinding. And as for PvP, it's a little bit more tricky to talk about, because if you want to play more of a defensive build, you use different light stones and artifacts, or if you just need more accuracy, which is, I think, the better choice for most players. And yeah, if you just want to go glass cannon, do that. So that's why it's harder to talk about, and it's more preference based. So what do I think are the important things that you should be going for in terms of like the Raboms? And if you hear people in other videos or streams say like Rabom skills, it just means skill enhancement. That's what they used to be called before they changed it years ago. So I chose these: Wrath of Vidir, Unveiled Fate, and Balance Strike. And the reason why I like Wrath of Vidir more, it's more just like preference. And I feel that it feels a little bit better. And like when you do your PvE rotation, it just feels cleaner. And then Unveiled Fate, it allows you to get attack speed 10% for 10 seconds, along with negative DP on the enemy on hit. So I think that's good. I personally have switched between these two, and I think Unveiled Fate is a little bit better. And this one, these aren't really for PvP. Like, you can obviously use them there, but it just feels more for grinding that feels better. And as for Slanted Slash and Balance Strike, it doesn't really matter. I personally just like Balance Strike more, but ultimately you just use the one you want. And my add-ons are a little bit different for whatever. You guys can see this. This is more for my PvE setup, because I just, every now and then I do grinding, so that's what I have. But overall, what you should get out of this is Succession is melee, or, well, it's magic melee, and Awakening is more ranged. So which one is better? I think realistically, Awakening will probably be a little bit better because it feels safer, especially for PvP. But overall, like, I think realistically they are both good. So whichever one you like more and whichever one you think is more fun, I would play that one just because it is what it is. But like at the high end, it's less about anything and just whatever the multipliers are if you're at like the 1%. So yeah, just play whatever you want, especially if you're a new player. Just find the one that's more fun. Just know that DK, very flashy class, glass cannon. If you're a PvPer, you're probably going to be like an assassin type player, and so you're not going to be in the main ball doing big damage. You're just picking off other people, in my opinion. And as for grinding and PvE, I think they just do fine. It's not the worst. It's not the best, obviously. So yeah, I think overall it's just like in the middle or slightly above the middle, above average. And yeah, that's what I'd expect. So like of a rating of 10, I think I would give it like a 7 or 8. So people who tell you that Dark Knights are bad, they're probably just bad. I mean, they're not. They're just okay. I mean, you'll probably do fine. Most classes are okay as well. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a quick like. If you have a other class you want to see me talk about, in my opinion, the classes that I have more proficiency of playing are, 1, Valkyrie. Valkyrie was actually the first class that I've ever played. Like when I started this game, that was the first class and character. And then obviously Dark Knight. I do have some experience with Sage and well, it's my tagged character right now just because I thought it was fun. And I do have a little bit of experience with Sork and Wusa and Dracania, but that's about it. So everything else, hopefully you can find a person who plays that and or join the class Discord of whatever you're playing. So I hope that was a good intro to Dark Knight. If you have more questions that I may have forgotten, or more into technical side of, hey, how should I build this, or what kind of crystals, artifacts, light stones, gear stuff, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm happy to help answer them. And yeah, check out the playlist and videos in the description. So I may have done something that covered like what your question might be in more detail, so make sure to check that out first. And that's it for today, so thanks so much for watching. Before I head out, I just want to say, if you are new to the channel, welcome first of all. I would love to see you guys come back, so hit that subscribe button. I make videos for beginners, returning players, and people who are just looking to get better overall. And I also have a code on screen, like right there. If you are thinking of trying out the game or upgrading your edition of the game from like the base to like the Conquerors or something, I get a commission, or like I get some portion of it, along with if you are purchasing A coins, and I also get a small portion of it. So if you are doing that, use my code. It's Jonlaw. It's not case sensitive, and I would really appreciate it. And even if you don't spend money and you want to play this game free to play, that's cool with me, as long as these videos are at least informative or helpful to you. That's all that matters. And yeah, that's it. Once again, see you guys later. Have a fantastic day. Peace.